Get away from her, you bitch!
Oh, shut up, you tart!
Who disrupts my coronation?
Get to the chopper!
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Good evening, everybody. Live from Ghastly Graves, or Stapleton, as it's otherwise known. It's on your Geeky Showing. I'm back, baby.
And he ain't the only one.
No, I ain't. With me, returning from the dead. She's a Wednesday night delight. She's a spooky sight, especially when she's talking shite. It's Miss Violet Impulse.
Good evening, my sweet tortured souls. The violently violet one is back to violate your sanity once again. Woohoo!
Well, as long as it's me sanity and not me arsehole, I'm happy.
We're all out of pineapples, unfortunately. They're out of season at the moment. We've had to swap
Yay for the seasons.
We've had to swap them over for hand grenades, similar texture and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, foul.
Yeah. They're okay as long as they don't. If they unclench, the pin pops. So, it becomes a bit of a game to see who's going to go first.
So, yes, here we are, back once again with the ill behavior. And tonight we're going to be talking about some spooky shenanigans because it's a Halloween episode.
Ooh, it's Halloween here in Calico land. So
it's Halloween everywhere, Sim.
So what's next then, guy?
Well, what's next? We'll go to
here.
A little bit of housekeeping because it's time for the shout outs.
Up first, it is the Calico Crichton, the son of the Pertwee, Tony Harris from the Retro Movie Zone, commenting on last week's episode. Is originality a myth? He goes on to say, wow, a brilliant episode, folks. Really enjoyed this one. Was riveted to the conversation between you and Jimmy Lee. That's pointed at Callista. But have to say, I love the original Lost in Space series as I grew up with it. Yes, I kind of grew up with it. Not obviously the first time around because I ain't that old. Sorry. But I watched it on the reruns. Yes. Guy, did you?
Oh, I did, yes.
It was the pain. The pain.
The pain.
The movie remake wasn't at all bad, but I always come back to the original series. Yes, well, as we've said many times on this channel, the first thing that you interact with a franchise is kind of the thing you will always default back to when you're doing like a rewatch or anything like that. It's your first introduction. Even if it's not the starting point of the franchise, you'll go back to your original entry point.
Yeah.
The puns there.
The thing I like most about the movie version was the new version of the theme tune by Apollo 440. That was great.
Oh, do you know what? I remember that when the film came out, you could not move anywhere without hearing that soundtrack coming out of a nightclub, a pub, someone's headphones on the bus. It was everywhere. It was a bit like Zombie Nation at one point. That song was everywhere.
Yeah. So raise the glass to the Apollo 440 boys. Well, that's all
I don't have a glass, but I'm raising a. Anyway, as for the remake, as for the remake series, sorry, I got confused there. I haven't seen it, and to be honest, I'm in no hurry to watch it. Like I said like Callista said in that episode, yeah, it's take it or leave it. Watch an episode. If you can't sleep, put it on. You might get a good night's sleep out of it. But moving swiftly on, I've yet to see Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Tony. I don't know about Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but I think it's more Revenge of the Pineapples that you need to worry about right now with making that statement.
Yes, they may be out of season, but they still come in tins.
Mm-hmm. So do I for the right price.
Food for thought. Oh,
Anyway, moving
dirty, dirty
swiftly on. But just hearing you talk about a possible remake of this has made me want to see that movie. Huh. This one, guy, I think this might be a little bit shade towards both of us here.
Ooh.
This is easily one of my favorite episodes of Higgis yet, and I can't wait for next week's. Live long and prosper, folks. So, your favorite ever episode of this little show we do, Tony, didn't even feature either of us two.
Well, that could be an unsubscribe on a certain YouTube video.
I think I'm going to send some Cenobites his way.
Mm-hmm.
And up next, Tony made another comment. Because in that episode, Callista and Jimmy talked about remakes done right and remakes they'd like to see. Remake done right for me was the 2009 reboot of Friday the 13th. Oh my God, Tony, it gets worse. I mean, okay, hands up. I do like that film for the idea of if you're going to introduce a new this was talked about in that episode, introducing a new generation to the franchise. I like the way that it kind of took some of the better plot points of the first 3 or 4 films and kind of strung it together to make one story. So sort of, here's a rundown of everything that happened in the original condensed for the new audience. And if you want to go and seek out the originals, you can watch those and goes, oh, that's the bit that inspired that bit in the So I kind of like it for that, but the kills were just not original enough for me. That's kind of why you go to a Jason movie. You want to see these wacky, inventive kills, like the sleeping bag kill. You know what I mean? You want to see wacky things like that. And in that, it's just like, oh, it's a wood chipper. Oh, he stabbed someone. Oh, he threw a pitchfork at them. Oh, he threw an axe at them. The kills are very bland. In a horror film, you want the kills to be spectacular. And when the kills happen in that one, I'm just there like, I've seen Jason do that 10 times before now. Show me something I've not seen. Even though it's a remake, show me something I've not seen as a returning fan to the franchise. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yes.
Remake done wrong. That would have to be The Fog. In full agreement with you on that one. The original John Carpenter, The Fog. Horror classic. The remake, the only thing that I can even remember about the remake is it starred Tom Welling at the sort of height of his fame around Smallville.
Nice.
That's all I can remember about it.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, remake done very, very wrong there. It couldn't hold a candle to the Carpenter original. Yeah, we just said that. Remake I'd love to see happen would be Kingdom of the Spiders, just to see what they do with this classic 70s skin crawler. I do know that film. It's one of those ones I've seen snippets of here and there throughout my life.
I've not seen it, so...
Well, Tony, on your next episode of your little show, you can comment more on that film, sell it to us, and maybe we'll check it out and talk about it on a future episode.
Maybe
next Halloween.
Although, to be fair, the adjudicators' feelings on our 8-legged brethren, I'll probably not be allowed to watch it.
So no 8-legged freaks viewing for you then?
No arachnophobia.
Fighting the spiders.
Yep. It's a spider-free viewing zone.
Oh dear.
At the house of JB.
No arachnophobia then?
No, I love that film.
Do you know what? Right? I always got that confused with anarachnophobia. You know, you're scared of people in anoraks.
Oh, I'm scared of people in anoraks as a general rule.
I know. Same. They've got a clipboard. It's even worse.
There you go.
Thank you, Tony, for the comments and much love. Mwah. Moving swiftly on to the next comment, we have the man, the myth, the beard, Agent JK47, the Ginger Ninja JK,
JK in
saying,
the fucking house.
yeah, whoop, whoop. And he goes on to say, I don't hate remakes. I do dislike some remakes. And yes, the Crow remake is one of them, but not because it's a remake, just because I found it to be a badly made film. See, this is the thing that kind of got me with it was that I didn't mind what they were trying to do with the story because it was closer to the comic books. It's not for me. It's for a new generation of Crow fans to bring in more people. But that is the main thing I've heard about it is that it's just a very badly made film. It's like they say, you can polish a turd, but it's still a fucking turd.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Crow remake is a perfect example of that, with all the late scheduled reshoots and everything and re-edits and everything they had to do with it, just to get it to a passable standard, and then nobody even liked it.
Yeah.
So
I've not bothered, and I will not bother.
do you know what? Right? I think when it hits one of the streaming services and I can watch it for free, I will check it out because I've not had to technically I've not had to pay for it. I had to pay my subscription fee. I will give it a viewing just to say that I have, just so that I can go back and watch the original and go, I prefer this one. I already know that's going to be the case, but at least then I can say, I've watched them both. This one is for me. This one is not. But
I won't even do that. It will not appear in the House of JB.
Fair play. Moving swiftly on, JK goes on to say, one of my personal favorite movies of all time is Dawn of the Dead 2004. That's right, not the OG, the remake. I can kind of agree with you on this one. The one thing I didn't like about the remake was the fact that the zombies could sprint. It was too much 28 Days Later for me. Call me a traditionalist when it comes to zombie movies, but for me, it's the slow, shambling zombies because that is more fear. Because no matter how fast you see it in the classic Romero movies, no matter how fast you run, no matter how far you go, they're always right there, just behind you. Or you open a door and boom, they're there, they get you. But the fast running ones, they're just more dangerous. If you're quick on the draw and you get a headshot, you're fine. So I kind of prefer the original zombies, but the story in the remake of 2004, yeah, I love that one with the whole zombie baby bit in the middle. And it's one of those films where I actually own the theatrical cut and the director's cut because I love them both. The director's cut though does come with some different special features that kind of tie into the main film. There's like a news report thing that shows you how quick it spreads. The guy Andy in the gun shop, there's a whole video where it's like his video diary of his time in his gun shop. So it adds more depth to the film. Continuing, because this is a one hell of a lengthy comment. I love Friday the 13th, 2009. Another one. Night of the Living Dead is another favorite remake. Yes, that was mentioned by Callista in the episode, that the Night of the Living Dead original and remake are both personal favorites of hers and also mine, purely because, as said in that episode, it just takes the idea and the premise of the original and just updates it like a remake should be. It's not change the characters, make characters do things that you wouldn't have thought of that character doing in the original. It just took everything you loved and just polished it. It's like when video games do these remasters. It's the same game, it just looks a bit nicer. It's got a bit more polish and a bit more budget behind it. That's kind of what, for me, the Night of the Living Dead remake was that it just took the original film and went, there you go, it's nice, new and shiny.
Yeah.
Plus, it was directed by Tom Savini, and we all know my love for that man. I'd love him to make me a mask one day. I'd quite happily sit and let him. No, I'm not going to go there. It's not time to dribble. It's not time to draw.
You mean you're going to let him put a white substance on your face?
I was going to say the sticky white alginate. Just comment section. Moving on. I have left. I have left off the 80s classics as they are still great, but I think that that's because they were my introduction to these ones. Yeah, I think some of the horror slashes of the 1980s should not be touched for remake wise just yet. Because we tried that 10, 15 years ago with Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th. The middling success with all of them, really. Especially that Nightmare on Elm Street remake. That is just trash. Utter trash.
Another one I've refused to watch.
Well, I mean, I found this out recently watching a documentary about it, but Jackie Earl Haley had never seen the films when he got the role of Freddy. So he went and watched the films and said that he fucking hated them. So it's like you've got a guy who doesn't even like Freddy Krueger playing Freddy Krueger. I'm sorry, but no wonder that was a you could phoned in as fuck performance. It did not sit right for me. And just before that, he played freaking Rorschach in Watchmen, and he was fucking phenomenal in that. You know, how can you go from that to Fred?
Yeah.
But there is talks of more stuff going on with Elm Street. We'll mention some of that in a little bit. But continuing on with the comments over here. This is going to take a while. A YouTube buddy of mine has always said remaking a movie does not take away the original. You still have that. And I agree 100%. Yes, that is definitely sort of my kind of feeling with it now is that Transformers 1, because it's just recently come out, and I kind of want to see it just to see what it's like. For me, either way, whether I love it or hate it, I have to accept it's not for me. It again, keep saying this, it's for the new generation of fans coming into the franchise at this point. For them, 30 years from now, Transformers 1 is going to be their Transformers 86 movie for us. You know, they're going to look back on that and go, oh, I remember when I was 10, 11 years old, my parents took me to see that. I love Transformers ever since. It's going to be their entry point into the franchise. So I can't say, oh, they shouldn't make this. It keeps the franchise going, and the longer it's going, that means I can buy more Transformers.
I know, just...
No, you can't always have the classics, because if you always had the classics, nothing would ever be classic.
Shut up.
Right, Evil Dead, all of them. And the remake is my preferred one over the OG. Again, I very much feel that if Sam Raimi had had the budget back in the day, the original Evil Dead would have been gore-wise, specifically, much more like the remake. In this humble demon's opinion. War of the Worlds. I watched the 80s/90s TV show, the American one where the aliens were dormant, not dead, and take over the human bodies. But I still enjoyed the Tom Cruise one. Yes, that was the TV show that was mentioned. I do remember seeing that when I was very, very young. It was one of those. I was very ill one night, couldn't sleep, so my parents had me downstairs in the front room. They were watching TV, and that was on. And I vaguely remember the intro kind of recaps the events of the film, but sort of does a little bit of a retcon, like, oh, they're not actually dead. So, yeah, I do remember that show, but I don't remember anything about it. So could not tell you much about that. The Tom Cruise movie, War of the Worlds. What did you think, JB?
It was all right.
Yeah, for a Tom Cruise movie, it was fine.
Yeah, but
for a cruise vehicle.
Yes, it was a cruise missile.
Be Still My Beating Heart. Night of the Living Dead is great. I love the remake so damn much. The ghouls look so much better. The cast is awesome. Yeah, that was when the DVD covers and stuff shown off and everything. I'm guessing this was typed out while watching. That's how I respond to comments. Best way to do it. So it's fresh in the brain. The Crazies, amazing. Yes, Callista keeps trying to sell Tony on this one, the Crazies remake. Again, much like Night of the Living Dead, it just takes the original and brings it up to date, modernizes it perfectly, doesn't change too much, but changes just enough so that you still don't see things coming. Like,
Yeah.
it still keeps the suspense and the surprise because it changes just enough. Plus, it's kind of gory in places too. A remake we didn't need. The Strangers. That film was a waste of time. The Crow, enough said. I think that covers that bit nicely.
Yeah.
Um,
Jesus, still going?
yeah. Maximum Overdrive. This needs a remake and a damn good one. It deserves a remake. Also, Demons, the 80s gore fest. I know the one you're talking about. Is it the Lucio Fulci ones?
Hmm.
If so, mention in the comments. Where was I? Down here. There we go. That would be a lot of fun, especially if they expanded the ending to the demons. Yes, great episode. Thank you very much, JK.
Thank you, Jay.
No, I need a drink after
Perfect.
such a comment. Nothing wrong with long comments as long as they clean up afterwards.
Okay.
The next comment, this stark contrast to the last comment. The next comment is from Brian2365.
Hey, Brian.
And they say, wowie. Wowie. That's literally the whole comment.
Thanks, Brian.
It's like the polar opposite to JK. We get JK, and then that's the next comment.
Well, thanks for commenting anyway, Brian.
Thank you. Well, but right, the final comment of the week, because he's been a crafty cunt again, it's Jimmy Lee. Well, considering this comment will be read out next week, out when Guy's back from his musical trek. Haha. Welcome back to your channel, and thank you for allowing me to fill in again. Oh, well, Jimmy, we all know you like to fill in slots wherever you can.
Boop, boop.
At least that's what it says on the wiki toilet wall.
Wow.
One, thank you, everyone. Really had fun making this episode. It was a lot of fun from what Callista was saying when she was getting nailed by Pinhead. Pun intended.
Hey.
Hello, Violet. I hear those chains waiting to pull me into the horror film section. To paraphrase Pirates of the Caribbean, you don't need to be afraid of horror movies, Jimmy. You're in one. Having some time to consider remakes and probably continuing the trend of controversial picks. Labyrinth, no. Dark Crystal, there's kind of been a sequel, so I'd say no. Conan, there's been a reboot with Jason Momoa before he became famous, and it's bollocks. Belated sequel or better remake. There are rumors floating. There've been rumors floating around the internet for the past sort of 5-6 years now that Arnie does want to do one more Conan film, King Conan, to sort of, because there's that scene in one of the original ones where he sat on a throne with the sword and he's got a crown on and everything. He basically said he wants to kind of round it off with showing that little clip became a reality. So, I mean, 20 years ago, I would have said yes. Now,
Ain't got the body no more.
no, I'm sorry, Arnie. Maybe if it was Conan training up his son. Maybe.
Maybe.
Bit of redemption for Momoa, cast him as Arnie's son. Bit of redemption in the Conan franchise. I don't know. Red Sonja. No. Considering it's a comic book film and Hollywood loves those. Yeah, but it's a rather niche comic book. That's the problem. It's like Lady Death. As much as I'd love to see a Lady Death movie, given that the fact that the costume is basically bits of dental floss over the important parts, I don't think Hollywood's gonna gravitate to that kind of comic book movie, honestly. But good picks, but for us personally, no.
What I will say though, quickly, is big thanks to Jimmy for stepping in for me again. Much appreciated, buddy. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Jimmy Lee. It's always nice to have you on the show. At least that's what Callista tells me. With that, I've been Jimmy Clifford, and I will return eventually.
Will you?
Yeah, will you? That. And that is it for the shout outs.
Jesus Christ.
Damn,
Wow.
that was a long comment section this time around. I come back and I get a workload.
Not that we're moaning.
No, we're not complaining. Not complaining. We love having the comment section. It's just did not think it was going to take that long.
No, we didn't.
So, moving swiftly on, guys.
Well,
Up next.
right. We got to ask the question, what the fucking are you been watching?
Well, thanks to Amazon Prime deciding that in just shy of a week they're going to start charging for their fucking Winchester boys. It is literally all that has been on the TV this week is their Winchester boys. The only time I've watched anything, and I mean anything else, is when Big Bang Theory has been put on at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm trying to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I have not watched anything that has not been supernatural. I have gone from the start of season 10 to the start of season 13 in like a weekend. So
keep it up, keep it going.
3 more seasons to go. I am gonna get there. Gonna get to the end of it. So that covers what has been watched over here. Random Man, what have you been watching?
Well, me and the better half were a bit stuck for something to watch. So we thought, right, what we're going to rewatch this time? And we ended up randomly watching the Stargate movie a couple of weeks back, one afternoon.
Nice.
So we thought, oh, let's watch SG1 again. We ain't done that. God knows how long. Could we find it? No. Could we fuck? Not without paying for it. That's Amazon.
Yeah.
So instead, we moved on to that there. Arrow. It's time for an Arrow rewatch. Yeah.
We may cover that at some point on this show because it was supposed to get covered last season. But
yes,
due to the fact that anyone around here had watched it since its original airing, and some of us had only watched the final season very, very recently at that point, without the rest of the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline around it, so it made no fucking sense. We decided that week it was like, we really don't know what we're going to be talking about when it comes to Arrow. It needs a rewatch. So it's perfect that you've decided to do that because I'm going to on my watch list to do the same.
It's really nice. It's only the second time watching it, and I'm really enjoying it. So
I remember it being like, especially the first up to about season 5 for me was where it was at. You know, season 3 was dark as fuck, but it needed to be because the Flash was coming in around that time as well.
Yeah,
the more lighter tones were going to be coming up straight after that. So it's like you need to go into the darkness to have the lighter tones afterwards.
Yeah,
take it from me.
But no, we're enjoying that. It's been good. That's about all I've watched actually.
There we go then.
Well, you know, music stuff. You know.
Well, that rounds out the what you've been watching section. So
it does. So
this freaky, geeky, crazy train rolling.
It's time for the meat.
It's time for the meaty bits.
Halloween.
This is Halloween.
Seeing as this episode will drop the day before Halloween.
Yes, we dropped the 30th, Devil's Night.
Indeed. So yeah, I've always enjoyed Halloween, and I'll presume,
I
I don't need to ask you,
do.
but
Rather obvious, isn't it?
yeah. Well, for me, Halloween's always sort of been a big deal. You grew up in a pub, so Halloween's always there's always like a Halloween party every year. It's fucking great.
Oh, yes, exactly. Halloween parties are abound, especially when it falls on a weekend. If you get a Halloween that
Mm,
happens on a Friday or a Saturday night, the parties are just insane.
yeah.
People go all out, whether you do scare stuff or it's a movie night with beers and pizzas and stuff.
Mm,
People just go all out. It's like Christmas for the goths.
yes, it is. It is Christmas for the goths, but yeah. So growing up, it was always great for me. I mean, I wasn't that much. I didn't trick or treat.
Did a couple of times.
So I lived in the middle of nowhere, so
Yeah, I lived in the middle of Horninglow, so I mean, trick or treating around there was sketchy at best.
yeah. But when you live in between Barton and Yoxall,
Oh yeah, there's fuck all there.
yeah. So there's nowhere for me to go trick or treating.
Not unless you go around the local farms and get eggs.
Yeah, I do love eggs. Not that much, but no. So yeah, for me, Halloween was just always a party.
Yeah. See, for me, growing up, Halloween always consisted of either a little party somewhere, like it was like a movie,
Mm,
and fill the kids with sweets and hype them up with sugar till they throw up kind of parties. Or my favorite kind, and these were always my favorites, where it was just me, my family. And if it was like a Saturday, Saturdays were always the best because you could spend the whole day doing it.
mm,
But it was get home from school, get your little Halloween costume on, turn the lights down, and just binge watch Halloween films, scary films,
mm.
until the wee hours of the morning, till 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And when you're like 8 or 9 years old, staying up that late watching like Night of the Living Dead, the original, and The Thing, you know, they cement themselves as horror classics in your brain. And even if they scared you, your
Mm.
parents were right there to look after you.
Yeah.
So those are some kind of childhood memories of Halloween for me. One of my personal favorites, though, every year was doing the pumpkin, carving the pumpkin,
Mm.
and okay, my folks were a bit traditional, so it was always the big smiley grin with a couple of missing teeth, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So, but to me, that when you see that kind of jack-o'-lantern, that just sparks the intro to the Halloween franchise.
Mm.
As the music's playing, it's zooming in on that pumpkin that's got that traditional jack-o'-lantern triangles for the eyes and the nose and the big mouth. So for me, that is the symbol of Halloween.
Mm. That's always been my favorite jack-o'-lantern. Because you do see them sort of like on social media now, and they've got all these intricate
Oh,
carved and
don't get me wrong, they're impressive.
yeah, fair play if you can do that. But I just like the traditional. Give me traditional anytime.
There is, like I said, there's something just about that triangle eyes, triangular nose,
Yeah.
the big cackly witch grin with like a tooth here and a
Mm.
tooth from the top. Sometimes variate it, maybe do like pointed teeth.
Yeah.
Favorite one of my spawn these days tends to be Jack
Mm.
from Nightmare Before Christmas because you can get those white pumpkins.
Yeah.
That was what we did last year. We did a little white ghost pumpkin and we did the Jack Skellington face on it. And I was pretty impressed with my skills. I'm just gonna.
Yeah. Bless. But of course the other great result of the jack-o'-lantern was my mum's pumpkin pie afterwards.
Oh, it's one thing I've always wanted to make, never done.
Oh, hmm. So tasty.
I may have to go looking for a recipe for pumpkin pie now.
It's only a Google
I know. There's a lot of things these days that are only a freaking Google away, and they really shouldn't be.
That's true.
That's
Now. Oh, you. Am I going to have to naughty step you? No? Okay, fair enough. Moving on.
Continuing.
Yes. So yeah, we've got jack-o'-lanterns, we've got decoration. Oh, I do love the just sort of the decorating.
Oh, well, I call it home decor.
Mm.
Everyone else calls it decorating for Halloween. I call it, this is every day, bitch.
Yeah, the one I don't like is all the outside the house things because it just gets sometimes a bit ridiculous, and sometimes they just look shit.
To be fair, when they're done right, they do look rather good. Like you drive past, it's like,
Mm.
fuck, I wouldn't want to go in there. Like when it's done like a proper haunted house, looks like
Yeah,
from a horror film kind of, they've gone full all out with it. Looks great. But when it's
yeah, it's
like
only half-assed it.
bit of cobwebs thrown across the windows and
And that cotton woolly looking stuff.
yeah, I was walking to see a friend the other day and then someone had wrapped their whole bush in the front garden around with it. And I
Mm.
was like, it just looks like snot. It doesn't look
Yeah,
like web. It looks like a bed sheet's got caught around your foliage. I'm sorry, no, it doesn't
yeah.
look good. But when it's done right,
Mm. Yeah, but I also wouldn't like the lecky bill.
oh fuck no, not with the out of lights and stuff like that.
Yes, shit. Oh, bit of politics. Oh,
I bet your electric company loves you around this time of year because you got Halloween, then fucking Christmas.
yeah. That's got his lights up again. Pop champagne, lads.
Yep. Him at number 42, he's paying for my kids' university.
Yeah, fucking Jesus. But what's it? what other trend? Well, we've got to talk about Hammer Horror a little bit, haven't we? That's it.
Of course, these
Glorious.
these are the sort of films. This is what I'm talking about. When Halloween happened on a Saturday in our house, because this is the weird thing, right? Hammer Horrors sort of got delisted in terms of their age ratings quite quickly.
Yeah.
In the 90s, they went from being like 18 rated to being like PG rated.
Yeah.
Because it's like although they were scary, there was no blood, there was no swearing, there was no boobs, there was no drugs. So it's like, as far as the broadcasting standards, like, you see worse shit on Playdays nowadays.
Yeah.
So like, I remember like the Sky Movie channels would do like family classics during the day. So it was like, Christopher Lee's Dracula and
Yeah.
the old Frankenstein and things like that. Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee,
Mm,
Vincent fucking Price, all those true horror legends. And they were showing up sort of during the day.
yeah.
So I remember watching a lot of those with my parents and then like explained to me like the first time they saw that because their parents sat down and watched it with them. So
Mm,
it's that generational thing where we know about it because our parents shared it with us because their parents shared it with them, and I'm sharing it with my fucking kids.
mm.
So
Well, the Christopher Lee Dracula is always, has always, and always will be my favorite Dracula. No offense to Gary Oldman, but
when anybody says to me, name at least two actors who have played Dracula, I always go Lugosi and Lee.
mhm.
Bela Lugosi, Christopher Lee. For me, they're the legends.
Yeah,
They're the
tip top.
benchmark. They're the benchmark.
But for me, Lee tops
Oh,
Lugosi.
definitely. It's just that look, that the eyes.
Mm.
And speaking of that, the originals are actually available on Amazon Prime if you want to watch them.
Oh, I think I will. I think I bloody will.
And I didn't realize until actually seeing it up on Amazon Prime, the Christopher Lee Dracula with him, Peter Cushing, and all that lot came out in 1958.
Yeah.
I did not realize it was quite that old.
Yeah, they are old.
I thought it was 60. For some reason, I thought it was 62.
Mm.
I always think of that one as being 62, but it's not. So I
Yeah.
must get confused with another version of Dracula, I'm sure of it,
Probably, yeah.
or a re-release or something. But
Those old hammers at Bruin, they're uniquely British.
oh, definitely. There's something quintessentially British about them, and it's very odd going back and watching them now, where the British people all talk very, oh yes, oh very prim and proper, oh Doctor Frankenstein, how dare you? You know, it's very
Mm.
of its time.
Now see here.
Yeah, but
Now see here, Van Helsing.
that sort of is part of its charm
Mm.
because it is that little time capsule and that little bubble.
Yeah, well, they're all traditional RADA trained.
That's what
You
I
know,
mean. It's
buddies.
like it's when British actors were really kind of stepping full force into Hollywood.
Mm.
You know, the British invasion happened with the Beatles. Yes, well, movie wise, it happened with these guys, the horror guys, the Hammer guys. Because, you know, Hammer horror did make it very big in America,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, thanks to that little old Pinewood studio that we did an episode on.
It's in the archive, folks.
Yeah.
It's in the archive if you want to go back and watch that.
Yes.
If you've not seen it.
I may tag it at the end of the episode for people to go and watch that one, soon as we talk about Pinewood. You can't talk about Hammer without talking about Pinewood because the two kind of made each other.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Hammer Horror, Pinewood wouldn't have kept going. And if it wasn't for Pinewood, Hammer Horror would have never got started. Same as the Carry On franchise. They're part of its DNA.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Hammer Horror as a company is technically still around. They do still produce movies.
Mm.
They're just not as good as they used to be.
Yeah. You know,
No
they just don't
shade.
look the
No
same.
shade.
Well, they don't look the same.
That is true, though.
I don't want to see horrors in HD.
Uh, again, goes back to what we've said on previous episodes that I think there's that unfortunate thing sometimes where when you upscale a movie into HD and all of that kind of stuff, you can see the flaws
Mm-hmm.
more than you could before, and that kind of detracts from the film just a tiny bit.
Yeah. I do kind of wish I'd kept hold of one of my cathode ray televisions. But
You know what, right? I think Blu-rays and DVDs and streaming services and stuff now, I think they should come with an option. Because you get this on computer games, right? Where you can have the old CRT monitor, like scan lines and stuff like that. I think there should be an option on TVs now to have those old style displays. So you
yeah.
can watch the older films the way they were intended to be watched.
Mm.
Have a cinema filter over. TVs are getting that advanced now. We've got these filters on our phones. Why can't we have them on our TVs?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that.
Just so we can watch the old films like, you know, hell, go back and watch some of the old films like the stuff from the 50s.
Mm.
Put a black and white filter on it, even if they're colorized. Put a black and white filter on it because that's how they would have originally been broadcast, in black and white.
Yeah.
There's an idea for you, any TV makers out there. Put a black and white setting on your fucking screens.
Yeah.
We've got smart TVs and stuff now. Let's have a selection of filters when watching films.
Yeah, I want an old school filter.
Yeah, old school CRT lines. You know, the occasional fuzzy glitch that appears at the bottom of your screen when it's recorded on a VHS. You know, that fuzz that goes.
Yeah.
Like that. Like every so often, just do that randomly. Just no set pattern. Just every so often, just.
Yeah.
I might see if I can do something.
You heard it here, folks, first.
Money.
They're here first.
Yes.
But yes, you know, so there is that, and of course, you know,
there's the slashes from the 80s as well that go hand in
Oh,
hand with horror.
right.
I mean, literally the one that kind of created the slasher franchise to a certain extent. Halloween.
Hmm?
Halloween, it came out 1979, and then literally every kind of slasher film after that used its blueprints, tweaked it a little bit, and made it its own thing. I mean, hell, Victor Miller, the guy who co-created the Friday the 13th franchise, has actually famously said, quoting directly, Halloween's doing great money, let's rip it off.
Yeah.
And we ended up with Friday the 13th that's still around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Halloween franchise, you can't talk about the season of Halloween without the film.
Yeah.
Just all parcel of the same thing.
Tis well, that's the great thing. I always love that as well. You know, you get Halloween's on, right? There's scary movies on the telly.
And see, that's a kind of the thing that's lost as well is that, okay, streaming services you can go through and you can just add a load to your favorites and whatnot. But I think there was just something special about back in the day, knowing that a horror film on Halloween night was going to be on at like 8, 9 o'clock past the watershed.
Hmm.
You were right there with your blank VHS tape in the machine with your button, with your finger ready to hit that record button.
Well, playing record.
Hmm?
It was playing record, wasn't it?
I don't know. Mine was a little red button that said record.
Hmm.
But
Oh
anyway,
no, no, that might have been cassettes.
but you're there ready to hit that record button and then just sit and watch the film knowing that once it's finished, you can turn it off, rewind that tape, and watch it all over again. And watch it
Yeah.
as times as you want. Okay, things are simpler now. You don't have to rewind, you just hit restart. But
Hmm.
still, I think there's something just magical about that. When you
There is. It's you can hold it in your
yeah,
hands in
yeah.
your grubby little mitts.
Yes. I mean, to this day, I still own one VHS tape, and that is Alien Resurrection.
Nice.
I mean, it's not the greatest film of the franchise. In hindsight, it's not the worst neither, but still, uh, just to have that, like,
Mm.
it's one solo VHS tape, and it's Alien Resurrection. So,
I have one as well.
oh, what do you have?
Cliff 'em all. It's a thing that Metallica released as a tribute to Cliff Burton.
Oh,
Their original bass player sadly died in '86 of a tour bus crash. So yeah, I have that. I won't get rid of it.
I don't blame you on that one.
I have a copy on DVD that I can watch, but I won't get rid of the tape
Yeah, yeah. So I'm having
just
to.
because Cliff Burton was a god.
Oh, yeah, of course. It goes without saying.
Mm.
Right then, anything else you want to talk about Halloweeny wise then?
Hmm. Music.
Oh, well,
I am a musician.
I have to say, being a fan of horror films, this time of year, more than any other time throughout the year, is definitely a time where I will put on more horror themed soundtracks just to be on in the background while I'm
Mm.
waking up, torturing souls, tickling Hitler's G spot
Yeah.
with pineapple. Um, I will listen to things like the Hellraiser soundtrack, Candyman soundtrack. Just recently, actually, watched The Burbs with Jimmy Lee Clifford. And although it's not technically a horror, there are kind of some scary elements to it. When I was listening, because I'd seen that film so many times, I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. I was just listening, and I was
Mm.
like, the soundtrack for this film's actually really good. It's got some good creepy tones here and there,
Yeah.
but it's also got some good sort of triumphant sounding music, some sort of almost comedy kind of waiting for the beats of the slapstick kind of jokes going on in
Yeah.
the background. So that is what I may have to check out.
I've got a recommendation for you. The Hannibal soundtrack, not the series, the film Hannibal.
Oh, the Hopkins one.
Yeah, the
Oh,
soundtrack to that is brilliant. It's so atmospheric, and you've got bits of Hannibal Lecter talking. You've got old Mr. Hopkins himself.
ooh.
So yeah, that's really worth listening because you
Amazing.
got mixes of classical music but with ambient stuff, voices. Yeah, it's great.
Good, 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 good. I may have to check that one out. And one other soundtrack I think we may have to talk about because we've watched so much of it at this point is the Supernatural soundtrack.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
let's face it, you could watch that show any time of the year, but watching it around Halloween because it's always monsters and demons and
Mm.
it kind of feeds into the Halloween feeling. But the soundtrack for that across all 15 seasons has just been
Classic rock.
classic rock after classic rock hit. And even when it's not like the direct version of that song, some of the covers they do in it, like there's a version of Wayward Carry On Wayward Son they do in it, and it's been sung
Mm.
sort of by a girl in a choir.
Yeah, that's
That
nice. That I
I
enjoyed that.
love that version of it. I was like,
Oh, hold on.
In the episode fan fiction, it's that when the
yes, episode fan fiction, yes.
The adjudicator speaks.
I know that was the episode I was thinking of. I couldn't remember which episode, what it was called, but yes,
Mm.
thank you, adjudicator.
She's from Joe.
But yeah, so yeah, the Supernatural soundtrack as well is just
Mm.
absolute belter, and I think the vast majority of it is actually available on Spotify as just one
Yeah.
playlist.
It is.
There you go, get on it.
In fact, Jason Ackles himself does sing a couple.
Yes, I was aware that he was a singer as well, which made me just want to jump on him even more.
Mm. So yeah, his band Radio Company. Yeah, there's a couple in the Supernatural soundtrack.
I do think it's really funny though that both in Supernatural and The Boys they make out that he can't sing for shit.
Yeah, but he can.
Especially when he does the Soldier Boy stuff when he's doing the karaoke.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, tangent there.
But in reality, he can sing like a bird, bless him. He's great.
Yeah.
So there you go. And of course, we can't forget the Ghostbusters.
Oh, of course. I think that's one thing we'll quickly cover.
Did
Halloween family films. Halloween, because we can talk about horror till the fucking cows come home.
Yeah, but you gotta
We're gonna
include.
have some family stuff. And Ghostbusters is right up there because I remember most Halloweens that would be shown on at least one of the terrestrial channels that we used to have back then. You know, the second one I noticed seemed to get played a lot around Christmas, but I think that's because it was set around Christmas.
Yeah, and my telly's just come on by itself.
We're talking about Supernatural and your TV switches itself on. I swear I had nothing to do with that.
Salt ring.
Quick, grab the salt and iron. Get the rock salt buckshot.
But guess what it was just saying on it came on the screen and it said, "Oh, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire now on Sky Cinema." So yeah, weird.
They say shit isn't technology's not listening.
It fucking is. Skynet's coming.
Well, I mean, clues in the name. Look, Sky TV,
Yeah.
Sky.
I've turned my Alexa off.
I'd burn the fucking thing. I don't trust artificial intelligence. I don't trust anything that can outthink me. So I don't trust anyone.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Bastard.
So yeah, I think that does it about Halloween. So
Yeah.
down there in the comments, give us your Halloween traditions, your memories, your little quirks, what you like to do. Share
Yeah.
it all with us.
Please feel free to tell us some of your traditions that you either do every year or just even if it's just something that's quirky little thing that you do that's just you.
And Brian, maybe more than a one-word comment.
Just a,
I'm not telling you what to do, just a little suggestion.
yeah, a little bit. But yeah, definitely drop us your Halloween film suggestions in the comments. Things you may watch.
Well, not just films, traditions, everything.
Films,
A whole enchilada.
books, maybe even books that you read around Halloween, because there are some Halloween themed books out there. Maybe even Halloween themed video games. It's one thing we didn't talk about.
We did. We didn't. We know. But you know, hey,
And there's plenty
Halloween comes every year.
there when it comes to horror video games, like scary video games. There's so many. They'd have to be. I think that would be its own episode.
Mm.
In all honesty, just
Like my good self, Halloween comes every year. Wow, 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 wow. I'm back.
wop wop. But yeah, I think that about covers us for the Halloweeny.
Cool.
Special, exactly. It's just a an appearance by yours truly.
Indeed. So whatever you're doing, folks, have a great Halloween.
Yes, be safe out there if you go trick or treating. And if you're not one for wanting trick or treaters, just remember, be polite, tell them to fuck off.
Yeah, that too, right. Get fucked, you beggars. So yeah, we will be back next time. Well, I will. I don't know about the demon here, but
Maybe I'll see if I can fit you into my schedule somewhere. If not, that bitch Callista will be back.
fair enough. Right. Okay, folks, we're gonna sign off saying if you can't be good, be careful. If you can't be careful, hope you got a good doctor.
And good night, my sweet tortured souls.
Do the thing, do the thing.
Remember, if you can't be good, be twisted. Don't get mad, baby. Get
Get
sadistic.
sadistic. Yes.
Bye. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.